Hey everyone, Mr. Harvey here. Let's continue our lecture on the age of exploration. So, previously we've been discussing mercantilism, right? That economic, social, and political system that was really starting to rise during this Atlantic economy, during this kind of Atlantic exploration, during this age of exploration that we've been talking about. An important development during this time is going to be the rise of the slave trade. We're going to see a rise in slavery, predominantly from Africa, as this new type of economic, social, and political system within the Atlantic economy starts to rise. So let's talk about the slave trade in the context of this age of exploration. So we're in the 1500s, 1600s. Okay, um, something that's important to know, ladies and gentlemen, is that slavery existed in Africa before the coming of Europeans. Okay. And what we're going to see in Africa, one of the reasons why the Europeans are going to Africa is because they are going to be immune to the diseases, okay, that the Europeans have. And that's just due to their proximity, them having some of the same domesticated animals, cows, horses, pigs, okay. So the Portuguese, the Spanish, okay, are going to start replacing some of the European slaves, also the indigenous slaves, with Africans, okay, and this is going to be a very prominent, and this is going to be widespread and develop into uh, a social, political, and economic system and interwoven in this Atlantic economy. Okay, the Africans are going to be with the Spanish mining in those gold and silver mines like that, like we talked about. But we're going to see many of them sent to sugarcane and sugar plantations. Okay, and that's going to be in Brazil and in the West Indies. All right. And so we're going to see millions and millions of Africans shipped to the Americas, okay, over this period of time, during the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, and even in the 1800s, okay? What's important to understand, ladies and gentlemen, okay, is this is going to be constant, okay? This is going to be constant, and this is going to be Africans are going to be viewed as an economic entity. Okay, this is really, obviously there's social implications for this and political implications for this. But this is they're viewed as an economic resource to the Europeans. Okay, and like I said before, Brazil and the West Indies are the main locations for this. Okay, and when I talk about the West Indies, really quickly, just in terms of geography, okay, what I mean by the West Indies is we're talking about the Caribbean. When I say the East Indies, that's more like Indonesia, Southeast Asia. West Indies, we're talking Caribbean. Okay, and the Africans, like I said before, they are going to these sugar plantations. They are going to work, for the Spanish in the mines. Okay, but they are really going to the sugar plantation, and this is because, just to kind of, um, you know, reiterate, it is because the natives are dying from the diseases. Okay, that's a really important reason why we are seeing the Africans get involved in this. Okay, um, uh, the journey, ladies and gentlemen, from Africa to the Americas was brutal. It was awful. It was called the Middle Passage, and many, many, many people would die during this time. The Africans were malnourished. They were not fed very well. They were treated inhumanely, and millions would die. Okay, and they would simply, if an African captive would die, they would be just thrown overboard and just left to die. Okay, and that's where their bodies would be thrown. Okay, it was brutal and awful. Okay, sharks even followed the slave ships because so many bodies would be thrown off the ships. Just awful. Okay, as you can see, the ships that where the Africans were on, the ships were full of slaves. Okay, and they were chained. They were really weren't allowed to go anywhere, move. Okay, and think about this. This is where people are, eating, sleeping, going to the bathroom. They're sleeping in that. Okay, this was just an awful, 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 awful thing, and many slaves would die on this journey. Okay, and this was called the Middle Passage. All right, yeah, and they were simply treated inhumanely, and we're going to see thousands of slaves not even be able to survive the passage over to the Americas. Okay, All right. As you can see, based on this map, ladies and gentlemen, okay, a large percentage of Africans, okay, and this is mainly many of these African slaves are coming from the west coast of Africa, okay, some from the east coast, but mainly from the west coast, and they are going to Brazil and the West Indies, and we know this because of those sugar plantations, okay, sugar, all right, and you can see the importance of sugar within the world economy, okay, very important. That is the fundamental cash crop during this time. All right, let's move on. Now, we will revisit the slave trade in Chapter 8 as we talk more and more about the Atlantic economy right before the Industrial Revolution. Okay, but a really big part of the Age of Exploration, this connection now between the Old World and the New World, the Americas, in Africa, Europe, and Asia, is the Columbian Exchange, and we need to know this, ladies and gentlemen, for our AP exam. All right, both Europe and the Americas are going to be transformed as a result of this exchange between the Old World and the New World. For the Europeans, they're going to be introduced to new types of food. Okay, obviously, we are seeing them look at this, the Americas, as an economic, political opportunity. All right, with colonization. Okay, economics that we're seeing with these vast plantations, the economic exploitation that we're seeing. And we're going to start to see the rise of these global empires. Okay, we're going to see the European countries have these massive colonies all around the world. Okay, for the natives who lived in the Americas, this is going to be catastrophic. Their civilization, their people, their culture are going to be destroyed. Their way of life will be destroyed, and we're going to see millions of natives die during this time. Okay. One of the biggest parts of the Columbian Exchange is disease, and I've kind of referenced this earlier in previous lectures, okay? From 1492 to the 1600s to the 1700s, millions of natives are going to die in the areas of colonization. Some historians estimate that up to 90% of the natives are going to die, and part of the reason is because the natives lack immunities to the European diseases. Really quickly, I want to go back to the map really quickly, okay? One of the reasons, like, and I've mentioned this before, okay, is the natives have been separate, okay, from the separation of the Bering Strait, which is over here, okay. The natives have been separated from, these other populations for hundreds, thousands of years, okay. One of the reasons, and like I talked about, the Africans have immunities to these diseases from the Europeans, is that they're in close proximity to them, okay, very close proximity to them. All right, and they share a lot of the same animals, livestock, okay, that a lot of these diseases originated in, like smallpox, and I'll talk about that a little bit, okay? The natives did not, okay, and so they lacked immunities to the diseases from the Europeans, okay, and it's just going to kill them off in huge quantities, all right? Smallpox, measles, influenza are going to be some of the worst killers, and a lot of some of these diseases, ladies and gentlemen, like smallpox, are the Europeans, the natives have never ever been exposed to that, and it's going to be awful. Something else that we're going to be seeing during this time is kind of the first type of biological warfare when you see skirmishes or fighting between Europeans and natives. The Europeans are noticing that a lot of populations are getting sick. So, for example, they might, take a blanket or something like that and cough into it, or, put germs in it and then trade it away to a native village, and then the village is going to get sick. Some people that will bring the disease to a village. So it's going to be awful. And some of these diseases, like I mentioned before, okay, originate with livestock. Okay, we're going to see an exchange of animals. All right, like pigs, like cows. Okay. So, some of those diseases, because the Europeans, in the old world, they've been exposed to these animals that the new world hasn't been. These Europeans are gonna develop immunities to some of these diseases, and some of these different strains of diseases, and that's where the Europeans are gonna get their immunity from. As when the natives haven't been exposed to smallpox, because some of the kind of places where these diseases originate from, those animals, they're not even in the New World. Okay, one disease that's going to kind of go back from the Americas to Europe will be syphilis. which is an STD. Okay, so one of the big areas of exchange that's going to be revolutionary is diet. Okay, is the food. All right, from the new world to going to the old world. Okay, so this is food that is originated in the new world that's going to go to the old world. You're going to see things like the potato, corn, maize, pineapples, tobacco, certain types of beans, vanilla, chocolate. All right, and that is going to be revolutionary for Europeans. For example, some countries like Ireland are gonna, some of these new food groups are gonna be, staples in the European diet, like the potato. Okay, Europeans are gonna develop a very vast liking to chocolate. Okay, and that's gonna kind of coincide with sugar. Okay, so that's revolutionary. All right, from the old world to the new world, we're gonna see an introduction of things like wheat, okay, sugar, rice, coffee, all right? So those are things coming from, the old world, Europe, Asia, Africa, that are being introduced to the new world. And this is going to be important as well, okay? New animals from the old world going to the new world, like cows, pigs, goats, sheep, chickens, all right? And some of those animals also carry strains of disease, okay, that is going to harm the natives, all right? Like I've been kind of referencing before. Right now we're in the coronavirus, right? We would talk about how the coronavirus is, really harmful to humans. Well, that actually originated with another mammal, okay? I believe that scientists have said that it originated with bats, okay? Same thing with smallpox and some other infectious diseases. Some of them originate with animals, and if you're introducing this new population of animals that the natives in the Americas have never interacted with, it's going to bring disease. And remember, they don't have immunities to those diseases like the Europeans or other groups do. So that's going to be really harmful to them. Okay. And like I said, the animals, okay, another important animal that's going to be going to the new world that's going to have a profound impact is the horse, okay? The horse is going to have a really profound impact upon native cultures, especially in plain areas, as they're going to start to develop horse-based cultures and kind of be nomadic, okay? And that's going to really affect a lot of Native American cultures in like the current day United States. Because they're going to become nomadic as European settlers as they lose territory. They're going to be able to get, be mobile, move to different areas. Okay? And like I said before, right? Livestock, cows, pigs, goats, sheep, and chickens going to the new world. Okay? One animal that's going to be coming from the new world to the old world is the turkey. And there are turkeys all over the place, especially in California. It's a really funny story. I was with my girlfriend and her family one time, and we were just at like a State Farm insurance place and just walking around, and there was just like a whole bunch of turkeys there. And I was like, what? Like, what is going on? And I was driving home one time, and there were just turkeys all over. And I was just like, they were just like walking in the middle of the street, just hanging out. So that's something that's going to come from the new world to the old world. Okay. Obviously, another part of this, ladies and gentlemen, is slavery. All right, the capture and transportation of millions of Africans to the Americans, that's a part of the Columbian Exchange. You're seeing populations of people from the old world be taken to the new world. All right, so slavery is part of this Columbian Exchange. And the Africans are going to be bringing their culture, their language, their traditions, okay, to the Americas. So you're not just seeing, like an exchange of food and animals. You're also seeing an exchange of culture, of people, of language, of tradition, of religion. And that's something important to understand as well. Okay? Money is going to be exchanged. That's a big part of the Columbian Exchange, right? All that wealth that is being really stolen, extracted, taken from the New World. That's going to provide an influx of wealth to Spain, but also the rest of Europe. And it's going to lead to actually this price revolution in Europe, as there's these massive quantities of gold and silver going into Europe. It's actually going to bring down the value of gold and silver, and prices will raise at the same time. Well, it's because there's more currency, there's more gold and silver in circulation in these areas. There's more of an abundance to it. And so that's going to lead to a price revolution. price increase in Europe as there's more money. Okay, people can charge higher prices as there's more gold and silver to pay for stuff around. That was just a recent question on a recent AP exam, and I just wanted to kind of make that known. This price revolution, but that's part of the Columbian Exchange as well. You're seeing all this massive extraction of gold and silver and precious metals coming from the Americas to the old world, to Europe, Africa, and Asia. Okay, so take a look here. Here's kind of a visual of this. You see part of the Columbian Exchange. Here's some a transition from the Americas to Europe. All right, all that food, some of the diseases going to the old world of Europe. Okay, and this is kind of some triangular trade. We're seeing trinkets, liquor, guns being brought to Africa in exchange for the slaves. And we're seeing all of these entities brought over to the Americas. All of these things: people, coffee, peaches, pears, and then we can see all the diseases. Okay. Animals. Okay, so that is, ladies and gentlemen, kind of part of this triangular trade, part of the Columbian Exchange. Okay. All right. What is the impact of the age of exploration on Europe? Well, it has we've talked about a lot, okay? And man, we could have a whole class just on the impact of this and the age of exploration, but we don't have the time. But number one of the biggest impacts that we're going to see from the age of exploration on Europe is this: people are going to be skeptical of received wisdom. And the Catholic Church is supposed to be all-knowing. The Catholic Church is supposed to, have this fundamental understanding of knowledge about the whole world. And people are going to be like, yo, if you know everything, how did you not know about potatoes? How did you not know about turkeys? How did you not know about some of these things? How did you not know about all this land, all these people? And people are going to be a little skeptical. The Catholic Church is going to have a hard time kind of getting out of that one, explaining that. Okay, that's going to be that is going to increase a lot of skepticism amongst people and intellectuals. All right, we're going to see increased concern about the natives' welfare. Okay, after and kind of like I talked about the black legend earlier, we're going to see a massive genocide of natives, of culture, of people, and we're going to start to see some groups, some humanitarians really be concerned about what's going on in the New World. Unfortunately, though, it's going to be a little too late, as there's just going to be devastation of the native population, of their culture, of civilizations. Okay. Oh, sorry. We're going to see the beginning of this globalization and of European dominance, okay, in areas around the world. All right. We're going to see, we're going to start to see some conflicts in the world, and that are going to be almost world wars. Okay. And we're seeing these colonies, we're seeing European culture, European government, European economics, spread around the entire world. Okay, and it's going to take another jump in the 1800s in Africa and Asia. Okay, and economically, this is going to be a game changer economically for Europe and for the world. Okay, we're going to see some inflation, like I talked about. Okay, a big problem with this inflation that we're going to be discussing is wages will lag behind the prices. So if prices rise, prices get higher and higher and higher, and people aren't making as much money. Well, that's a big problem, because people won't be able to pay for goods, and if people can't pay for goods, then that means that the businesses aren't making as much money because they're not selling as much stuff, and that means that they have to fire people, and that means that more people can't buy stuff, and it kind of falls into this feedback, this loop that is really devastating to an economy. So we're going to see Europe really kind of have some economic struggles with adjusting to this new Atlantic economy. The cash crops, the colonization, the slave trade. This is changing everything in the European and world economy. We're going to see new wealth. We're going to start to see greater investment in research. We're going to see huge economic expansion, political expansion, right? We're going to see different European countries try to consolidate power around the world. Spain is going to control much of uh, middle Mesoamerica, parts of North America and South America. England's going to try to get into that and have it, it's famous 13 colonies, British Columbia. France is going to try to, French Canada have colonies around the world. So we're going to see this really lead to, a huge expansion of European influence all around the world. And we're going to continue to see government centralization of the economic functions. Mercantilism, governments controlling the economy. Okay, governments controlling the economy and centralizing power around the economy. And that's something that we're going to continue to talk about. Okay? All right, let's continue to talk. Let's kind of just sum this up one more time, okay? Right? More about the European expansion. Natives are going to be ravaged by disease, okay? New products introduced across the continents with that Columbian Exchange. We're going to see colonial rivalries start, and this is going to be really important, especially when we get into the political effects of the age of exploration and economic expansion. We're going to see fights break out, okay? 7 Years' War is going to be a huge fight that we're going to see break out, okay? And so we're going to start to see these rivalries, all right? Like I said before, new patterns of trade, mercantilism. This is the economic system we really need to know early on in this class, because this is the government's controlling the economy. This is the government's, and mercantilism is a kind of this global economy, this Atlantic economy, and governments are controlling that, and this is new. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done for this lecture of the day. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, just let me know. And great job. Thank you.